I have a lot of problems with Steam, and I have voiced them pretty thoroughly here on the channel. The way that they pick and choose what games make it onto the platform is ridiculous. Their employees have no guidelines that we know of that they follow when rejecting and banning games. They have very suggestive and adult-themed titles, yet they've also banned games with nearly the same damn content. But the claim that the NCOSE, or the National Center for Sexual Exploitation, is making, saying that Steam promotes video games that include sexual violence and normalize the sexual abuse of others, is ludicrous. Not only do they give examples of several games that are adult-themed and that are properly rated, but they also say that parents need to know that these games normalize the sexual use and abuse of others when they are clearly not for children. I just want to say that most of the things they're trying to combat are awful things, but to target video games is no different than blaming mass shootings on video games. The National Center for Sexual Exploitation accused the popular video gaming company Steam of allowing video games that promote sexual violence, including rape. Steam, a digital distribution platform for video games, allegedly allows multiple games on the platform portraying sexual violence, according to the National Center for Sexual Exploitation, the NCOSE, including Mirror, Love Vibe Aria, My Servant, and House Party. Now, Mirror is a game with sexual content, hentai, nudity, and mature tags. Vibe Aria says sexual content, nudity, mature. Oh, and House Party says sexual content, nudity, mature, and NSFW. They are all properly tagged and rated. Therefore, they're allowed on the platform, and I doubt that Steam will change their policies. But why don't we look at what the NCOSE is demanding Steam change their policies to, and see what they're demanding Steam do about their claims. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation urges Steam and its parent company Valve to do the following. 1. Create parental controls that are lockable, so that children are unable to see and access content their family determines inappropriate. Okay, that's fair. 2. Create an 18+ category on its website in which all games with any amount of nudity or sexual content are stored. All accounts should have this 18+ category disabled by default and require an extensive opt-in to view it, so that younger gamers are no longer automatically exposed to this content. 2. The creating the 18+ category is fair, but Number 3, reverse the allow anything policy and reject selling games that normalize or glamorize sexual violence and exploitation in the future, no matter the user's age. Now, 1 and 2 are reasonable, and for the most part, Steam is already doing these things. They're already, they already have 18+ categories, but they also have parental controls to an extent. Their games are tagged and rated correctly, but the third one is insane. Normalizing and glamorizing sexual violence, of which they offer no science to prove, and there is no connection, just like we have not found this grand connection between violence and video games, and there's no proof with any of these statements either. Also, no matter the age of the user means they're telling Steam to censor things for adults now. Now, if Steam chooses not to carry these games, that's up to them. They are a private company, but they need to have a clear and concise policy in place of what they won't allow and why each game that's been banned is being banned, unlike what they did with Rape Day, which they did remove but offered no explanation for what it was removed for. Parents need to know that these games normalize the sexual use and often abuse of others. When video games include sexually graphic and degrading themes, the user is not only a voyeur, but an active participant in staging the scene. Steam should immediately change its policies to stop hosting such sexually explicit material. Of course, they go into the parents need to know that these games normalize sexual use and abuse of others, others, but these games aren't for kids. They're properly rated to show that. It's not Steam's fault if a child plays one of these games. It's their parents' fault. It's a virtual situation. This isn't real life. Kids aren't looking at video games and then going outside to murder someone. By that logic, by the logic that simple games promote these awful things like violence and sexual abuse, by that logic, all games are promoting violence in some way or another. Are we going to live in the world of Animal Crossing? Is Missile Command promoting nuclear war? Is Moon Patrol saying that we should shoot at every UFO we see? Even simple arcade games have forms of violence in them. It's the human condition. We aren't normalizing anything here. People don't play Call of Duty and go out and murder anyone. If themes that people saw in video games and movies normalized their ideas to the point where they acted on them, the world would be in fucking chaos. There's no science behind this. There's no proof here whatsoever and no studies. The person this writer is quoting is offering no science to back this up, and don't sit here and tell me that sex is different from violence, because it's not. All I'm asking for here is the science to back up their claims. I haven't seen it, and I'm sick of the ideologically driven policies that blame video games for the ills of society. These aren't my type of games. This is not the content I myself would pay for, but that's not the point. The point is that it exists for a reason, and it exists for adults that can make their own choices. But let everyone know your thoughts in the comments section down below. I thought this was ridiculous. There's no science here to back anything up, so if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe, but of course if you did not, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, and I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.